Hey folks, Doug Blake with Body Design University. In this video, I want to talk to you about the benefits, some of the benefits of doing lunges. Now, I regularly get questions as to whether lunges are even necessary if you're doing squats and leg extensions, other different leg exercises. Is it even necessary to do lunges? Look, as far as whether an exercise is good or not to do, it's really a question of how are you doing them? What other exercises are you doing if you're training, in this case, your legs to make that decision? Nothing wrong with lunges if they're done correctly. I wouldn't necessarily do lunges in place of squats, for instance, just for any number of reasons. But we also look at the utilization of an exercise based on number one, does the client like to do the exercise? And if they like to do lunges, then let's do lunges. Can they be done biomechanically correct? Of course, lunges can absolutely, but they can also be done, certain types of lunges can be done incorrectly and problematic. And the other question is, can you put enough stimulus on the target muscles? And in the case of lunges, absolutely you can. Again, there's any number of ways to do lunges, and there's always a question as to are you doing lunges to train your quads predominantly, or are you doing them? And you can do this. Are you doing them to train your glutes? Predominantly, and that requires a little bit of change in position to stress the gluteus group more so than just the quads. Look, you can't not stress your quads when you do lunges anyway, no matter how you do them. And the reverse is opposite as well, as you simply can't not engage your gluteal group. But you can change positioning of the lunges, right? A couple of different ways to put a little bit more emphasis on one of those muscle groups versus the other. So, any number of ways you can kind of go about doing this. So, again, you don't generally want to replace them with squats unless you have an issue with squats, and then the lunges are a great way using free weights to stimulate the quads and the glutes. If you cannot do regular squats or hack squats, whatever the case is. So, what are the benefits? There are a couple of really good things about doing lunges. The first, I would say, probably the best number one or the best thing about doing a lunge is the ability to isolate, right, and do one leg at a time. And of course, there's some folks that would say, no, you're better off doing both legs. And my answer to that is, again, if I have a choice and I can only do one exercise or the other, I would always choose regular squats. But if for whatever reason I can't do regular squats, like I've got lower back issues, makes it very difficult for me to do a regular squat. But I can do lunges. The benefit is that lunges provide this unique ability to do, say, one leg at a time, and provide stimulus to that one isolated quadricep or glute as it is. So the benefit of a lunge is one leg at a time. I can put more focus and emphasis on that one quadricep if I'm doing them sort of the standard lunge, or if I'm putting my foot up a little bit higher and I'm going back a little bit further, I can put a little bit more stress or feel more stress on that gluteal group. So there it is. So number one is because I can isolate one leg at a time, meaning I put one foot forward and the other one's back behind me, I am able to put more focused attention, if that's what you want to do, on that one leg. Another benefit, which most folks don't really appreciate, is that when I'm training the average client, that unilateral stance helps with balancing. So there's something to say about having somebody do a movement that offsets the legs, the feet, to where it forces you to balance a little bit differently. And of course, you'll see this because folks will do a lunge and they'll have their hands at their sides holding dumbbells, perhaps if they're using resistance. And when they either step forward, just saying, I don't recommend the step forward, but if that's how you want to do them, that's fine. I will generally recommend the step back. So I'm standing with my feet together and I take one step back, and that allows the client to with a little bit better balance. And you'll see people, they'll do this. They'll kind of move, side to side, and they're trying to ensure their proper balancing. So it's actually a benefit to doing that. So single leg isolation. Also, there's this balancing component as well. And probably the last benefit I see to doing lunges is that it is a great way to get people to start to feel and learn how to feel the target muscle without having to put significant resistance on those particular muscle groups. Again, it doesn't mean that regular squats, back squats, front squats, hack squats are not a great exercise. They're all good. It's just that sometimes, especially with newer clients, newer individuals that are just starting to train, sometimes it's beneficial to have them start with an exercise that does not require or demand as much load in order for them to feel the exercise. Now, again, let's keep this in proper context. We're not saying that you shouldn't do regular squats or whatever exercises will train the quads and the glutes. What we're saying is that lunges are a really good addition. And if you cannot do some of those bilateral movements like regular squats or the other types of squats, lunges are a great way to ensure that you can train somebody and, train their quads and their glutes without too much of a heavy load, right? Because remember, with lunges, I can hold lunges with a bar on my back or dumbbells in my hands. And now with dumbbells in my hands, I can definitely get a fair amount of work done without heavy load. And just keep in mind, make sure that you're doing these exercises biomechanically correct. And I would say, just as an afterthought, maybe the last, I told you the last thing, which was the third one, but perhaps one last thing to consider with lunges is when you're doing multi type of sets where I'm doing upper body work while I'm doing a leg exercise. So, for instance, I can do a lunge and a curl simultaneously. I can do a lunge and a lateral raise simultaneously. Maybe that's another benefit. Not that I do that a whole lot, but you can throw that in as an honorable mention for the benefits of doing lunges. Look, I'm hoping that this was helpful. Keep in mind, do the lunges, do them correctly. Make sure that you are feeling it in the target muscle, not the joints. If you're doing lunges, it's one of the reasons why I don't recommend doing walking lunges for the most part, is because folks cannot do them correctly. They go too far forward and they'll start to feel it in their knee. Look, if you're feeling an exercise, any exercise, by the way, in the joint and not the target muscle, you need to rethink how you're doing your exercise performance. So as long as you're doing them correct, lunges are a great exercise, particularly for the average client that you are training. So again, hope this was helpful. Just let us know if it was by typing the word understand in the comment section. Remember to subscribe to the channel if you have not done so. If we can be of any more assistance, let us know. Have a great week. We will see you next week. Thanks.